Continue. Welcome to this video. In this video, we'll continue to understand operators in Python. In the previous one, we looked at what are operators, what are arithmetic operators, and what are assignment operators. In this video, we'll try to understand what is comparison operator and what are logical operators. So start with comparison operator. So as the name suggests, comparison operators are the operators that are used to compare certain entries, right? Mainly, it will compare two operands or two values. Okay. So the comparison operators are equal to operator, not equal to, greater than operator, less than operator, greater than or equal to operator, and less than or equal to operator. Alright, we start with double equal to or equal to operator or equality operator. So let's take two numbers. Let's take three numbers. Num1 equal to 100, num2 equal to 90, num3 also equal to 90. Okay. If I do num2 double equal to num3, now what is double equal to? Double equal to checks the equality, which means if the left side value and the right side value are the same, right, are the same values, then the equality operator or the double equal to operator will give us true. Alright, so in general, comparison operators give us true or false, because when you compare something, you get yes or no kind of an answer. And in Python, we know that yeah, true and false are used for yes and or no kind of a answer, right? And when we check num1 double equal to num2, which means we're checking the value of num1, which is 100, is it equal to the value of num2, which is 90? In this case, they are not equal, so we get a false. Alright, so this equality operator or comparison operators not only are used with numbers or in general integers, right? They can be used with any kind of data types. For example, Python equal to Python. So when I do this, what I'm checking is the left side value equal to or same as the right side value. In this case, what do you think will be the answer? Here, the answer will be false. Again, why is it false? Both are Python, right? If you're thinking because of this capital P and small p they are different, the answer is yes. Since Python is a case-sensitive language, capital P and small p are not same, so it will give you false. But if you say Python, small letters double equal to Python, small letters, it will give you true. All right, that's what equal to operator is. Second is not equal to operator. Not equal to operator gives us true when both the operands or the left side or the right side operands are not same, right? The values of both of them are different. So let's say num1 equal to num2. So what's the value of num1? 100. What's the value of num2? 90. Sorry, not equal to in this case. If you do not equal to num1 not equal to num2, the values of num1 and num2 are 100 and 90 respectively, and it is the correct statement. These two are not the same values, hence not equal to will give you a true. And if they are same, let's say num2 not equal to num3, if the values of num2 and num3 are same, which is in this case, when we use a not equal to operator, we'll get a false output. Right? This is what not equal to does. The next operator is greater than operator. Right? Greater than. Greater than operator gives us true when the left side operand or the value is greater than the right side value. For example, num1 greater than num2. Here, the value of num1 is 100, the value of num2 is 90. So is the left side value greater than the right side value? The answer is yes. So we get a true. And if the right side value is num3, 90, if we check it with compare it with num1, which is 100, so right side value is not greater than the left side value, we'll get a false. Right? As simple as that. Next is less than operator. The less than operator is reverse of the greater than operator. Less than operator gives us true when the left side value is less than the right side value. So when I do num1, let's take the values of num1, num2, num3. If I do num1 less than num2, what is the output? Will it be true? No, it will be false, because the left side value is greater than the right side value, it should be less. So false. And if I say num3 less than num1, in this case we will get a true, because num3 value is 90 and num1 value is 100. Simple. Alright. Next is greater than or equal to operator. Greater than or equal to operator. In this case, we get a true if the left side operand or the value is either greater than the right side value or equal to the right side value. For example, num1 greater than or equal to num2. Num1 value is 100, num2 value is 90. Is num1 equal to num2? No, but it is greater than num2. So we'll get a true here in this case. Then we have num2 greater than or equal to num3. What's the value of num2 and num3? Both are 90, right? So in this case, they are not greater. Num2 is not greater than num3, but they are equal, right? So when they are equal or greater than, you get a true. So in this case also, you get a true. Only and only when the left side value is less than the right side value, which is in this case num2 greater than equal to num1, you get a false, because num2 is neither greater than num1 nor equal to num1. It is less than num1. Okay. Next is less than or equal to operator. Again, less than operator is similar to greater than equal to, but in the opposite sense. It will give you true when the left side value is either less than or equal to the right side value. Right? Let's say num2 less than or equal to num1. Is num2 less than num1? The answer is yes. So when it is less than, it will not check whether it's equal to or not. Right? First condition is correct. So it will give you a true. Again, if you check num1 less than or equal to num3. Now, is num2 less than num3? No. But is it equal to num3? Yes. So one of the conditions are true, right? In the comparison. So you'll get a true here. Again, only and only when the left side value is greater than the right side value, you get a false. Right? Sorry. Yeah, that's correct. Num1 value is 100 and num2 value is 90. So we are checking if num1 less than equal to num2. In this case, yes, because In this case, no, because num1 value is 100 and num2 value is 90. So what will happen? This becomes false. It's neither less than nor equal to num2. So we get a false. So this basically concludes our comparison operators. The next type of operators that we're going to see is logical operators. Logical operators are, there are three logical operators: and, or, and not. So what are these logical operators? Logical operators are, as the name suggests, they look for logics, right? Means they actually work upon Boolean values, right? What are Boolean values? Boolean values are true and false, right? So they are used to basically combine conditional statements together, allowing us to perform operations based on multiple conditions, right? For example, before we take those examples, let's understand. Let's start with and. So if the first operand is true and the second operand is also true, right? You get a true. Now what's the meaning of this? Let's take an example wherein there's a person called Mark and he says, hey, let's say there's a person called Mark and his age is 25, right? Now Mark says, I am Mark and I am 25 years old. That's what he's saying. Now, whether this statement is correct? Yes. Whether this statement is correct? Yes. Which means the entire statement is correct. The same logic applies here. So if this operand is true, this also is true, and will give you a true. All right. Now, let's say second condition, second scenario. Mark says, I am Mark and I am not an adult. What's the meaning of this? It means he's less than 18, which is not correct. This statement is true, but this statement is not true. So the whole statement becomes not true because you're using an and means both of them should be true. So when the first operand is true and the second operand is false, you get a false. Similarly, if the first operand is false and the second operand is true, example, Mark says, hey, I'm John and I'm 25 years old. In this case, 25 years old statement is correct, but the first statement that he's making is wrong because he's saying I'm John. In this case also, the entire statement becomes false because we're using an and, right? And means both of them should be correct, right? And obviously, if Mark says I'm John and I'm 19 years old, both the statements in this case are false. False and false will obviously give you false. All right. So and returns true if and only if both the operands are true. Otherwise, it will give us false. Okay. The next is the or operator, logical or operator. Or operator returns true if either of the operands are true. Right. On the contrary to and operator, where both the operands should be true, then only it will give a true. But in case of or means either, right? One of them. So if one of the operands is also true, or will return true. True or true. In this case, both are true. So obviously it will give you true. In this case, true or false means, let's say Mark is saying I'm Mark or I am 18 years old. I am 18 years old is wrong, but I am Mark is correct. So since we are using or, which means either, right? So it will give you true. Similarly, the first operand is false or second operand is true. False or true. This also gives you true because either. Only in case of both the operands are false, then or will give you false. When Mark says I am John or I am 18 years old, in this case both the statements are false. None of them is true, so the entire statement becomes false. Right? The last logical operator is not. What is not? Not is nothing but it returns true if the operand is false and it returns false if the operand is true. So if you say not true means what? What is it? What's the meaning of this in English? Not true means false. Similarly, not false is true. Straightforward. Right? So these were the logical operators and or and not. Let's take the example of Mark and the age that we took. So let's say name is equal to Mark, right? And age is equal to 25. Now when Mark says, as I said earlier, what are logical operators? They enable us to combine multiple conditional statements or conditions together and then gives us a true or false. So we can combine two conditional statements. So let's check name equal to Mark and age greater than or equal to 18. What we are checking? If the name is Mark and if Mark is adult, that's what we're checking. So if you check what's the value of name? Name is Mark. So Mark equal to Mark is true. Age 25. Is it greater than or equal to 18? Yes, because 25 is greater than 18, so this will be also true. So this will give you true. This will give you true. And true we know that is true. So how does it work? This is evaluated first. This will be evaluated separately, and then true and true will be true. All right. Similarly, if I say name equal to Mark and age equal to 30. So we are looking for some Mark whose age is 30. But in this case, we have a Mark but whose age is 25. Right? So this is true, but this is false. So and will give us false in this case. Right? But instead of using and, if you're using or here, so in this case, what we're doing, we're checking either the name of the person should be Mark or the age should be 30. One of them should be true, right? Because you're using or. In this case, name is Mark, which is true. This condition becomes true. This is false. Doesn't matter. If one of them is true, we'll get a true. All right. So what we learned in this video? We learned two types of operators in Python. First, the conditional operators. Second, the logical operators. That's all for this video. Thank you.